Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 15.0 Café Scientifique with our guest Pedro Davó from Condor Airlines. And we're talking today about performance marketing. And first things first, right? Thank you for coming. Thank you for accepting our invitation to be here today. And let's start with our little introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do in Condor? And tell us about as well how is our everyday life.
Okay, so please feel free to ask me more in detail because I don't know if I'm going to go in detail enough.
Sure.
I work for an airline, and it's a very nice airline. We fly out of Frankfurt to destinations around the world. I worked in Condor as a senior performance marketing manager, and that means that I take care of investing in the performance marketing channels such as paid search, which is normally like the biggest channel in lots of companies, as well as display ads or paid social like Facebook ads or Instagram ads and so on. And my everyday life, it's a lot about looking into dashboards, looking into numbers, looking into Google Analytics or other analytics platforms of the likes of that one, and understanding how is the investment in advertising that we are doing actually delivering results for the company. Normally in an e-commerce, what you look is how much revenue you're generating.
Yeah.
So that's mostly my everyday life. In my everyday life, I go into the dashboards and make sure that we are investing the money in the right way.
And that was my first question that came. That was the first question that came to my mind when you were describing it. What are the dashboards are you looking to? Because usually in marketing, right? You all the time, hey, look to the dashboards, pay attention to the numbers. What are mostly the dashboards you are looking and the numbers that you are looking every day?
So I think it depends on what you want to find out with the dashboard. If you work in marketing, you can have different KPIs that are relevant to your job. You could look, for instance, into the platform KPIs. If you go into like Google or Facebook or any other platform like that, you can look into the spend. So you go and look, have I spent too much money? Have I spent, maybe my campaign suddenly dropped the spend, and you try to understand why is that. Then also all these media KPIs such as CPM, cost per thousand impressions, or you look to the click-through rates and so on. And those KPIs help you understand how is your media performing. Those dashboards, normally they are like preset on the different platforms. And then also you can go into the analytics platform. That's more first-party data from the company that you work for. And in there, you actually look into how many clients have come to the website recently through our ads. How was the interaction on the website? Have they been looking for the products that they don't normally look, or do we see like they're looking for like new destinations, or are they looking for like things that haven't been searched before? And then of course what you have in the analytics platform, it's revenue. So you can have dashboards where you can see so many people are coming through this. I don't know. For me, it's like everything. It's self-explanatory, but feel free to let me know if it's not. But like, what landing pages are driving more users? Are we getting more users with the Gran Canaria landing page, or are we getting more users with the Caribbean landing page? And then we look into the revenue. What is selling best? Or
what is selling best? And how you compare? Let me ask a very generic question. What is the best landing page? What is selling best then?
It's very complex and it changes all the time.
Yeah.
As you may know, in all the industries there are seasonalities.
Yes.
And especially like the tourism industry, it's very prone to having very strong seasonalities through the year. So until COVID happened, like normally in Germany you have like a huge spike in sales in the beginning of the year because everybody's looking for their holidays in January and booking in advance. People book for like Easter and summer and so on, and then the traffic or the demand decreases, And during these times, also you have different destinations, or like in our cases, like products that are more demanded. Like in the beginning of the year, people book a lot of long-haul flights. So the people book like flights to the States or to the Caribbean and so on. And then through the year, maybe when the summer comes closer, then people start looking more for like flights to the Mediterranean, to like Mallorca, Greece. You can fly to all those destinations with Condor, by the way.
Ah, very good. This is marketing.
Yeah, exactly. But depending on the season, you will have more people looking for certain things, and then you will have products and landing pages that are performing well because the demand it's there for those destinations.
Okay, and we are all the time touching this word, the performance marketing. The title of our meeting today is performance marketing. So how would you describe performance marketing? You look to all these dashboards and...
Yeah, performance marketing. I have studied marketing myself, and actually I think that marketing, it's about market orientation. You have a product, you understand your customers, you try to make this product relevant for your customers. And that's like this marketing approach. Then you have like brand marketing. Those are the big campaigns that we remember, like TV. You have some famous actor or actress that work for you, and then they do brand marketing. And those campaigns are the fancy ones, the ones that get on TV, on cinemas, also out of home in like the huge things. I don't know, like yeah, something like that, like billboards, the huge billboards. And those are there to make people notice you and see, hey, I'm a brand, I'm here. Next time you're going to buy a perfume, think of me. And on the opposite, performance marketing, it's all about selling. So performance marketing, it's a part of the marketing that it's very focused on activating customers.
Okay.
So it's very exciting because unlike when you put a billboard on the street, you do know how many people have clicked on your ads or how many people have seen your Facebook ads or your Google ads, and then you also can understand how many people click from there to your website, went on farther in the booking funnel, and in the end made a purchase. So performance marketing is this part of marketing in which you can tie the results, so the revenue that you generate, to the clicks and the interactions, and you can basically measure all the time the return on investment from your marketing. But on the other hand, it's not like the nice billboards where you aim people to just notice you and remember your brand. This is more about, you are looking for something and I have it here, so buy it from me now because you are now in the market for these products.
Can we say, imagine I'm not from marketing as well. Can we say that performance marketing is less about awareness and traditional marketing is more about awareness? Or let's ask in the other way. Maybe traditional marketing is more about awareness and performance marketing is more about selling and the amount of leads you generate?
I think that's a question that, or like that's a topic that it's discussed very often, and I think it's wrong to put them in two different ends of a spectrum. You have both parts of marketing, and you need them both. Depending on the size of your company and also on the budget that you have, you need them both. Traditional marketing or like more brand marketing, those types of campaigns or of communication, you need that to make sure people remember your brand. And when you do a brand campaign, your goal is not to sell something directly, but it's to create emotions and also to create memories in the consumer's mind. So when the next time they want to buy something from your category, let's say I have a perfume and I'm like a perfume manufacturer, I want them to remember next Christmas that, hey, this beautiful ad with whoever that was, that's the perfume I want to buy. And that's more about making a brand famous. On the other hand, performance marketing is about when people are searching for the perfume right now, like I want to buy this perfume from whoever, and they go to Google and search it, you will have a lot of results. The first results are going to be paid.
Yes.
And then if you don't do performance marketing, even if you have a wonderful brand, then consumers might go and buy from another provider or even from another brand. So performance marketing and brand marketing, they have to work together.
Yeah.
And it's also something that I have noticed in the companies that I have worked in the past, that very often you have two different teams, two different objectives, and very often you have them competing against each other, and it's not very efficient. And it would make much more sense to tie them together, because in the end it's like different ways of talking to customers in different stages of the consumer journey.
This is super powerful, what you're saying now. But they are two different stuff, right? We have performance marketing, we have brand marketing. They are two different, that's why people most probably goes for two different directions, and in the companies we have these two very different sectors. So how would you define them? How would you describe what is performance and what is brand, so we can work together?
So brand marketing is basically all the actions that a company can take to make sure that their brand is recognized in the audience that they cater. So that could be making TV ads, it could be having a blog, it could be having press releases to make people aware of the services that they do. So it's more about communication from the company to the outside, with the purpose of people noticing that you exist. And on the other hand, performance marketing is about, there is people who want to buy in this category, and you make sure that using the channels available, like search ads or like Facebook ads or other kinds of display ads, these people who are at the moment searching for those kinds of products or services, they get to your website or to your company and buy from you. So it's more like on the one hand, you create demand and awareness for your services and brand, and on the other hand, you can capture the demand existing and convert it into sales. But that's why it's not two things completely different. It's more like, on the one hand, it's like when you start getting to know a brand, and on the other side is when you're ready to buy, and you need to be there. And you need these ads or you need these campaigns to guide you through to the final destination, which is having the customer buy and pay for the service, because that's when you get the money.
Exactly. And imagine I am here a student from BSBI, and I'm fascinated by this performance marketing topic, and I want to work with this, but I don't know how actually I should proceed. And I want to make myself like a very good professional in this field. What would you suggest? What are the type of skills we need to develop for being a good performance marketing manager?
So I think having a background in marketing, it's important, because I read a lot of blogs, and I have a lot of people that I follow on LinkedIn, and very often people say, oh, you don't need to know anything, just like put your blog, whatever, and then you can get rich, and you don't need, and that's not true. You need to have some kind of a background, you need to learn what are the basics, and then of course you can try and do it the other way around, but you need to understand how it works to be able to contradict and do it your own way. And if you want to enter performance marketing, I think like analytical skills are very important, because as I told you before, it's about looking into dashboards, looking into, I feel sometimes like I'm an investment banker. I get a budget and I have to get a revenue.
All these numbers.
Not so stressful, and it's actually a lot of fun, and it has a creative part, but it's about data, so you need to be able to use data. I'm not super advanced in terms of like creating super dashboards myself, but I do have a very good understanding of Excel, and I can sometimes automate some stuff and get my own data in an automated way. So analytical thinking, a little bit of creating dashboards and analyzing data, it's also important. Statistics could be very important as well. It's also all related. And for the future, I think understanding a little bit of coding, like I try to get myself into learning Python. I don't.
Oh, wow.
I never get to apply it, so that's why it's something you learn and directly forget. But those skills are super relevant. And then of course there is plenty of free resources online, and you should like maybe search for one channel that you find interesting, like I don't know, like Facebook ads or Google ads, and then start with one. There are plenty of free courses, and then jump from the one to the next one.
Yeah, asking a little bit more about this technical part, are you in all these platforms, all these channels, being more marketing word-minded, what are the channels that you are working every day?
I mostly work with paid search, so well, like Google, Microsoft ads. I also do display ads, again to Google. Then there are also other tools like DSP, demand side platform. That's like a technical solution where you can buy display ads across the whole online inventory with the tool. So that one is something. It's like a channel itself. Facebook ads and Instagram ads is also like a suite. That would be like the channels that I use the most. And then of course there is stuff like native ads. It's everything in the end, it's the same. To be honest, when you understand the basic KPIs like how much is a CPM, how much is a proper click-through rate, how much should it cost me to generate a conversion, then the minute you understand how it works, you can go to the next channel, and then it might work in a different way, but you apply the same principles, and then
it goes back to you. And this goes to my next question. What role this plays performance marketing in these terms in the online marketing mix? Because as we see, performance marketing is very little dot in this whole marketing topic, right? So what do you think what is the role of this performance marketing?
I think it's not small. I think it's big, and the thing is performance marketing, because of the impact that you can measure. Normally, a lot of companies are like shifting a lot of budget into performance marketing because they understand what's happening with the budget. And like the billboards, you put your ads there and you get revenue. At some point, I think you have to start maybe rebalancing where is the budget going, and the size of performance marketing in the marketing mix. In the marketing or in the online marketing mix?
We can say both.
I think it's huge, because what we said about performance marketing is about capturing demand. If you are in a company that it's an established category, so if you are selling flight tickets or T-shirts or something that people regularly buy, you can profit from performance marketing, because you can actually get consumers who are looking for your goods to go to your website. It gets more complicated if you're a brand new category. If your service or if your product does not exist until now, there will no customers looking for you. So you have to go and find them in another way. There is no so much performance marketing that will help you. But for like normal companies, it's a huge way of actually putting money into channels and generating revenue directly.
And now you've mentioned the flight tickets, which is usually a hot topic when we talk about the consumers, right? And now I'm looking from performance marketing from a very consumer perspective. And now I'm asking the head of consumer, what can we do as consumers? Because we all want cheap flight tickets to Mallorca. So what is your suggestion for us as consumers to get these tickets, and how we should get it, especially with Condor?
Yeah, we spoke about that before. Consumer patterns have changed with COVID, and also the ways companies are reacting to consumer behavior has changed. I think in the past, I'm not saying anything that's private or secret. I'm also like referring
we
to
know
like,
you cannot.
Exactly, but I'm referring to like public,
the market,
public
right?
domain knowledge. Like recently, I read this week that some of the biggest tourism companies in Germany were speaking about the shift from last minute business in the past to now early booking. So if you want to make sure that you get a good deal, you have to book in advance, because the closer it gets to the summer, to like the main season, things are going to be fully booked. and everything is going to be super expensive. So if you would ask me a couple of years ago, I would say, I don't know, you have to like play around, check dates, and maybe use one of those intelligent tools to check when is the price going to be best. Right now, I think you should probably book in advance, because last minute is going to be probably very expensive. And the thing is, the market, everybody goes together. So if everybody goes up, then all the prices will go up, because nobody wants to miss that opportunity.
Okay. And you said that some changes before COVID and after COVID, besides this one of booking in advance and afterwards, have you seen other changes that they are quite like interesting for us in terms of performance?
In terms of performance marketing, I'm right now only speaking about airlines and tourism, but normally you have to understand your industry, and you have to understand the seasonality. And if you know that January and February it's a high season for you, you have to plan in advance your budgets for those periods. Because when you work in a big company, normally you get budgets for the year, and then you have to like break them down through the year so you have enough. And then you need to have enough budget when you have those peaks of demand, because if you don't have enough budget, again, sorry, I repeat myself, but I'm always thinking about budget and numbers. If you are not able to capture the demand in January and you miss it, those consumers who wanted to buy tickets, they're done. So you miss the chance to sell them your goods. So it's very important to now with COVID, this has changed, and you have to like probably readjust. In the last couple of years, the January business, for instance, was not as significant as in the past. I think now, after COVID, everything is again going back to normal. January was huge for all the tourism industry, and I think we're still like readjusting to the new world, and I think we are not completely sure how it's going to look like. Probably next year, when we can do the year-over-year comparison, next year is going to be the time when we're going to see what has remained after COVID and what has changed.
And a very generic question that just came to my mind when you used the word COVID. What happened with performance marketing during COVID? What did you do during COVID? What do we do?
You put it down. Like most of the companies, I'm not speaking about the company that I work for now, but like most of the companies, if you are doing performance marketing, as we said, it's about demand capturing. If people don't travel, why do you have to have so much advertising? But on the other hand, the few people who are searching or who are like in the market, you should try and get them and convince them to go to your website and buy from you. So I think during COVID, all of these budgets, they were drastically reduced because there was no demand and it didn't make sense to invest as much as in the past. And I think some clever companies used COVID to probably shift their strategy and maybe divest from performance marketing, invest in brand marketing. I think everybody has heard that Airbnb, they are like switching, they're moving away from so much performance to brand. I don't think it works for all the companies, but I think during COVID probably that was different ways, like not spending at all, changing the strategy, or just getting the demand that you could find in the market.
Very interesting. And what today, after COVID, we now face new challenges, right? What are these new challenges? What are the challenges you face today?
I think there are plenty from the performance marketing perspective, and besides airline industry or like the industry that I work for, performance marketing is going to be radically changed by AI.
I was expecting to talk about AI, finally.
I have no idea what it means basically, but recently there was the Google I/O where they present news and how everything is going to change. The way people search and interact with search engines, it's going to completely change. And when we think about performance marketing, the first thing you think of is paid search. And paid search is basically about what keywords do I want to advertise for, so I'm on the top position when people search for those keywords. I think we're going away from the keywords to like AI, so probably it's going to be like conversational search. People are going to like not search keywords but have a conversation with the search engine. So probably Google is going to be disrupted. Like the main revenue.
Oh, this is big.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything new, but like probably people are not going to search anymore like this. They're not going to be able to show the ads as they are. So I think we are up for plenty of new ways of advertising online. And for the future as well, we have cookies disappearing. Cookies are still there, but they're disappearing. That's also a big thing for display advertising. We have new platforms like TikTok. People like Gen Z are not searching anymore on Google, but they're searching on TikTok. So there is so many things happening that I have no idea how my job is going to look like in the next, I don't know, 3 years.
3 years, especially if you look before as well. Performance marketing was not a topic 5-6 years ago. Or same for the presence of AI today. So let's go a little bit of this, because it's the hot topic of marketing, or the marketing in general, not only marketing, right? What are the changes that you're already seeing from AI so far?
I think I was recently at a Google event, and Google told us that performance marketeers, we have been using AI for years, only that we are not aware of what it means. But like when you work with these platforms, you do the bidding. So the way that you pay for your advertising based on strategies, and those bidding strategies use algorithms that use AI to like decide where you are going to spend your money. So we are using AI in those systems. The thing is, like right now, you can use AI in this creative way. You can, like in the past, if you want to write an ad copy for your ad, you have to sit down and write it down, or you have to go to the creative team and they have to write you a copy for an ad. Right now, you can use ChatGPT or whatever other version of it, and this thing can give you an ad copy, and it might even work well. Or it can give you 20 ad copies.
And then you choose.
Yeah, so you can basically get a lot of input for advertising or for marketing from those tools, and that's basically very new.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah.
Do you use AI for your job?
For the bidding?
Yeah.
Yes.
Aha.
Like yesterday, I used ChatGPT to write a little text, and I'm not using it every day. But I do think I should use it
more often.
More often, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not super excited about everything that has to do with AI.
Okay.
I'm very critical about it as well.
And what is your criticism about artificial intelligence?
I think that people are not going to be able to understand if what they're seeing or reading it's true or not. We're already having lots of problems nowadays with not understanding what's true, because there is true in news, there is true, there is something that is objective in politics, in everything, and there are things that matter. And when a machine can do something that looks real but it's fake, I think it will become a problem, because everybody's going to be very confused, and nobody. And I think it's going to be very complicated to like distinguish reality from AI generated whatever. It's not only text, it could be videos, it could be images, it could be anything.
Yeah, good point. What about the future, Pedro? What is the future? What do you think is the future, since we're talking about AI? What is the future of performance marketing? What is the future of Condor? What is the future of airline industry? What is the future?
Wow, that's a huge question.
Yeah, you have time.
The future of performance marketing. I think we are going to be able to control less what we do. In the beginning, I spoke about return on investment, performance marketing. You can measure everything. It's very good, because you see what you invest, you see how much revenue you can optimize. With AI and with these changes, with these algorithms, all the platforms are removing a lot of control from yourself, and that's a problem, because algorithms are not doing everything well, and also algorithms cannot react as fast as a human person to like sudden changes, like let's say COVID.
COVID.
So you need to have you need to be able to react faster. So in performance marketing, I think we are going to lose control. We are going to have more clever systems behind us which are going to help us, but that's going to be like a, I don't know, a weird balance, because I think this very focused return on investment, we have to say goodbye, and like, I don't know, it will look in a different way. I think the platforms that will emerge, more TikToks will come. So I think as new generations come into the market, probably we will have to learn to speak to consumers through different channels with different mediums. That's for performance marketing. And for the airlines, I'm not sure. I think it's huge. Airlines, as we were speaking before, airline, it's a wild sector. There is always a crisis, and if a crisis is over, it's before the next crisis, and there is always something huge happening. I think airlines will have to focus on sustainability. All companies have to focus on sustainability, because otherwise there will not be customers or destinations to fly to, because everything will be a mess. So that's a huge topic for airlines. And then, I think airlines are going to remain a very important sector for a lot of people, because they transport people from different countries to different countries. That's super important. And and I think that's going to remain important.
Nice. I agree with you, especially because I love traveling, right?
Yeah,
so
me too.
we want these airlines to continue existing and bringing us there. I really like it. I don't know if you like it, but I really like it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And now we are going for the questions for our guests. If anyone has a question, please raise your hand. And I pass the microphone, please. And just tell us your name on the microphone and your question, please.
Hello, I'm Matteo. Good afternoon. Is it working? Yes. My question is, like, we discussed about a lot of topics, and really interesting. And now my question is, how the new laws and rules of policy privacy in Europe has affected the performance marketing, especially in the airline industry? Because
how do I?
Sorry, is it working?
I cannot hear you. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
How the new laws and rules of policy privacy in Europe has affected the performance marketing, especially in the airline industry, like about collecting data and managing data to create advertisements and maybe.
So you mean what do I think about that, and what have I experienced?
Yeah,
in
exactly.
those regards?
Thank you.
That's a very important topic. Also about the future of performance marketing. In the past, you could measure everything, and measuring everything was a dream for a lot of people doing performance marketing, because you could see who was actually behind those revenues. Well, no, you cannot see what person, but you can see too much data. I think that's wrong, because you don't have to know so much to be able to sell your goods or your services in a proper way. And I think GDPR, it's very important, because I'm aware what happens with this consent and the information that companies gather from you, but I think most of people don't know, and you are giving away so much information from yourself, and at some point I think it doesn't make sense that companies, huge companies, have all this information about yourself. It's super scary if you go into the Google interest section and you see what Google thinks that you like and how very relevant it is. So they know you well, and the difference from, if you go on the street and do something crazy, you can do that and people forget about that. But if you do something online, you search for something online, nobody, the data there, it's never going to be forgotten. So I think it's very important, these regulations, to make sure that we have the choice to not allow something to be tracked or to restrict the amount of data. And of course, it has a bad impact on the performance marketing, but I think you have to rethink how you measure stuff, so you can, with the data that you have available, make sense of it and continue doing good advertising.
Okay.
But
Thank you
it
so
has had a big impact, and it will have more.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So in this case, ethics is playing a really important role in about ethics more than marketing and selling.
I think like this regulation, it's at the European level, and I think that the European Union is reinforcing so much the importance of people having the right to have their own privacy. It's very good for us as people living in Europe, because it's an ethical question, and the companies that make money with the data, they are like companies who just want to make profit. So you need to have some kind of arbitrary or like intermediaries in those situations who are not only thinking about how to make money, but who think, how do I protect consumers from being, I don't know, from their own choices of like giving away this data when it could be harmful in the future. So it's an ethical question, and I'm very happy that there are entities who are thinking about it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other question? Please.
Hi, this is Mohit. As you discussed about the way of marketing in upcoming generative AI era, I want you to elaborate it further in regarding the question that what do you think of it, and how much are you prepared, and how much should we be prepared for it?
Okay. To be honest, I don't prepare nothing at all. Like AI, it's a huge buzzword, and it's been there for many years. And I think nobody really unless you are like working in AI, nobody knew what AI looked like until ChatGPT came. And then you realize, oh, wow, there is something which can actually almost replace even some jobs. And that's the moment when it hits you and you're like, oh, that's crazy. And then, of course, next applications come, you can generate pictures from text, or you can manipulate videos in a very easy way. I think AI for marketing, it's going to be huge, because you can create translations on scale in a very easy way. You can edit videos, you can edit images, and those are tasks which normally take a lot of time, and you need a lot of people to make them well. And I think very well trained AI can make those jobs very fast, and it will make it like scalable, and that will be something that's going to be positive in some aspects. But other than that, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a revolution, because when compared to other things that have happened in the last 40 years, there are some people comparing AI to the internet at all. So it's gonna be changing the way we interact with the internet. So from my modest opinion, I think I cannot even assess how it's gonna look like.
And what about like how much should we be prepared about it for this?
How
much we should, like we as a students right now?
Point.
How you should prepare? That's good. Well, AI in the end, it's a machine. It's code. So I think you need to understand how it works, because in the end, you need to have some technical skills to understand it. And from what I have learned so far, when you use AI for like marketing purposes, I heard about brains. You can buy like a brain, you get it in your company, you train it with your like brand identity, brand voice, and then you get this brain to create for you assets. You need to understand how this thing works. So I think technical skills are super important, but also you need to understand how marketing works. You need to understand consumers. You need to understand, like for me right now, it sounds like common sense, but you need to understand how people think and what people expect. And so you cannot only focus on the numbers, you also have to have the person in front of you. So I think those two things probably are very, very important.
So you mean like we should not be scared of it, and instead we should adapt it as far as it is coming?
I think you should not be scared of it. I think you should be eager to learn it and be critical. because very often some things get pushed for the sake of profit, and that's sometimes not good for the majority of people. So I think be critical. Like whatever you do, be critical.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the answer.
And it's interesting because critical thinking we cannot learn in AI.
Yes.
It's something that AI needs to develop. The next one, please.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Roderick. My question is related to what my colleague asked. So I want to know, you mentioned about the usage of AI in marketing. Just like all over the world, everybody is talking about AI, AI this, AI that, ChatGPT, and all sorts. So my question is this. What are the regulations put in place to mitigate the usage of this AI, unquote? Because in my opinion, it's like a question to you. Are we not really making a deal with the devil? Like, are we not making a deal with the devil regarding this AI? Because take, for instance, if you have a tool that can mimic a human being so perfect, even write codes, design websites so perfectly, they program it into machines to clean, to do cleaning jobs, even to manufacture self-driving trucks. What is the need of hiring web developers who are human beings? What would be the need of having marketing managers who are human beings? What would be the need of hiring truck drivers who are human beings? And they both all, to make it local. I think that airplanes, if I'm not wrong, were designed or developed in the late 80s into the early late 1800s into the early 1900s. Now, if you see the level we have moved as a people and see the type of aircrafts we have in place, you will see the type of progress we are making. My point is this. With the invention of AI, wouldn't there be a time in the future when there will be no need of pilots, whereby AIs will be flying aircrafts, okay? Because personally, you mentioned now that people shouldn't be worried, but I am worried, and I would like you to probably make some clarifications towards its usage if we are under threat. And if I'm to localize it, this is the final part. If you have a tool so good that can even give answers, everybody's asking ChatGPT, saying ChatGPT that, ChatGPT this, bringing it down to our environment, what would be the need of probably BSBI hiring lecturers when, of course, they can get holograms developed by AI companies that can teach students perfectly or even more efficiently? So my question is this. Are we not making a deal with the devil regarding this application of AI to every aspect of our life? Thank you.
That's a huge question.
question.
I
also have comments for this one.
Yeah. To be honest, I think this way of thinking it's very critical, and I do agree with you. I told in the beginning I think we should be very critical about it. You ask so many things that I'm just like a performance marketing manager for an airline, so I don't think I can give answers to your questions. I do agree with you in a lot of points. I think right now probably the genie is out of the box, and probably there has to be some entities in countries, I think country level, that should regulate what can be done with these models and with these algorithms. I think regulation, it's a way of avoiding mistakes happening. The problem normally is that the lawmakers are not fast enough in order to regulate new technologies, and I think that we have to live with that. Maybe this time they will be faster. So I think AI, it's going to be something good for some things, and it's gonna have a bad side as well. And I'm sorry I cannot really go so much into detail into your question, because I think it's too huge. And about the planes and the pilots are necessary. The planes are super intelligent machines, but in the end you need to have someone to be there in case the machine fails. A person can fail, but a machine can fail as well. If you have at least two safety nets, or like two pilots and a machine, at least you have like more security that that it's going to be safe. So I think pilots are also safe about AI and flying.
Yeah. Now, see the one of
same for. Let's
okay,
just
sorry.
take this moment, because this is a very generic question,
Okay.
and it makes us think. And this question is good because it makes us think, and we're here to think together, right? And you also mentioned the role of teachers. BSBI don't need to, but at some point, if every company substitute let's not also stigmatize AI. Let's just think about machines in general, right? If we all substitute jobs for machines, machines cannot buy airline tickets, machines cannot work and spend the money they make as a salary. So we have at some point we will have an economic issue, because these machines, they cannot operate the economic system the way it should operate. So even for the companies, they should be very aware, especially for the companies that is, as you as a manager, for example, or as a CEO of a company, you should be aware that you should hire people, because machines can learn about people, but people, there's no one better that can learn about people than people. I tell you, first things first. Second one is there is always need an input as a person to a machine. This way is still so far, right? The way we know today. We need to make inputs to the machines and not the other way around. So there will always be a person making inputs to machines for the machines to do it by themselves. If no one goes to Google to type, I want airline, or I want a flight ticket for June to Spain, to the south of Spain, which a lot of people are doing, machine will never know what is in my mind, right? It's still so far, right? So far is the way we know, the way we proceed. So there will always be a person, even with artificial intelligence, that needs to make this input. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. And of course, the economic consequences of substituting or make machines do the jobs of people, regarding also, on the top of it, the cherry on the top, the safety concerns, especially on airplanes, especially on education, especially, imagine an emergency happens. We need doctors, or you go to a machine. You can go to a machine, there's no problem, but there will always be a person there, and you will always feel more comfortable if there is a person there. And I believe we have a tricky point here, and this line between until where we can accept AI is the point that we don't know yet, and where is no-go, where we cannot accept AI. These lines are not clear yet, and that's why this question is so complicated, because no one knows where we should stop AI and where we should not stop AI.
Okay, so if I'm to take from your answer, you are trying to say that AI will definitely have limitations where human beings will be needed, right?
Yes.
Now, let's, from the question this my colleague here asked regarding privacy and data breach, okay? If you observe, like 3 days ago or 2 days ago, Facebook was fined, I think, 1.2 billion euros for the insane amount of data probably they took. It's all over the public space, okay? And if I'm to believe what you say, that human input is needed, with what I saw on the news, I honestly don't believe that such amount of data can be harvested by a human being in such period of time. So probably that was the work of an AI or whatever it is. So my question is this: are we not going into a period whereby our freedom and our privacy will be hugely invaded because of the invention or adoption of AI?
You want to go for this one first?
I think it sounds really bad. What you said, it sounds really bad, and I think it's not super far from reality. I'm hoping that regulators will take action, so the future in the end doesn't look as bad as you are presenting it. But I don't think it's great. What we said before, if you go on the street and do something crazy and people see you, you're gonna be ashamed, but people will forget, and you will forget, and then the deal it's gone. But when you generate data and the data is stored and it's there forever, then there's no it's not forgetting it. So I think that becomes a problem. And I really hope, as I said, that the future regulations will take measures to prevent misusage of data, to protect us from using AI in ways that are harmful for society. We already have societies nowadays in countries where AI is used to like monitor everything that people do, to like with like vigilance cameras. They give you points if you cross the street in green, if they take you points if you cross the street in red, and all that stuff can even have an impact on whether you can take a train or you have to take a slower train, or you cannot leave your city. So that's already existing. I hope that in Europe we are a little bit protected because we have lawmakers that are thinking of what's best for us and not for the system, or like for like, I don't know, for the profit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this insightful question. Anyone else? We have two here. One here as well. Microphone, please. Let's start here because it's easier, and then we go here, okay? Your name and the question.
Hello, my name is Priyanka, and my question is how often do you optimize your campaigns, and what is the first metric that you look at? Is it the keywords or the geography? And I have another question after that.
Okay. So yeah. So that's an easy one.
Yeah,
no
that was
philosophy.
Yeah.
So it depends on the type of campaign. If I'm gonna switch because otherwise that sounds super weird. It depends on the type of campaign. If you're doing a paid search campaign, normally you start like doing your research. What are the relevant keywords? And then you put a budget, and then normally you can use like, there are some forecast tools that you can use to like see how it would look, but in my experience those forecasts that do not tell anything that's reliable. So you start running the campaign, you have a couple of days data, and then you see how much am I paying for clicks or whatever, how is the click-through rate, and shall I improve my ads, and then after a few days you can start already optimizing. That's on the search. If you do something like display or like other types of campaigns, you probably need to wait longer, because for search, as we said, are channels where people are proactively searching for something and they're like about shopping or like buying. When you go into like this display or like these inspiration channels, you have to gather more data because people don't see an ad and go and buy. So you have to wait a few days, and normally you have to let the algorithms optimize. And what you normally do is to like, when you run a couple of campaigns, you gather some insights, and for the next time you plan a campaign, you use your best insights and plan the campaign with like best creative approach, best messaging, and from there you optimize.
So do you wait for the number of impressions? Say, I personally look at least 1,000 impressions and then I start optimizing. Do you think that's the best practice, or
are you talking about a display campaign or a search?
Let's
search campaign.
Search.
I do not look at all at impressions.
Okay.
I like search. It's about clicks to the website, and from the website to the conversion. So what I wait, it's how much am I allowed to generate a conversion, and it should be still profitable. How can I spend 50 euros or 100 euros. So at least I wait and spend like a couple of €100. So I have had like at least a chance to generate several conversions. And if I see it's not working after a couple of €100, like 200, 300, then you optimize. But if you start optimizing very quickly, you might miss data because people normally they don't buy straight away. It depends. If you sell, I don't know, t-shirts and they cost 10 euros, they will buy immediately. But if you sell something that is more complex, you need to wait a little bit longer because people, you know, you look for something, start researching, think about it, a couple of days later you go and buy. So I would wait more for like at least enough spend and clicks and traffic.
So this is my last question. So I want to know a little about performance max campaigns. If you've used them, and is it beneficial? That's all.
Good question.
Good question. Performance max campaigns. I told you before, be critical. So whenever something new comes, you should test it because normally they always bring like news with it, like new inventory, new formats. For the tourism industry, performance max campaigns are not great because performance max, they focus mostly on shopping and also on DSA, so these dynamic ads. So for the tourism industry, until now, it wasn't very interesting. So I haven't tested them yet. However, recently they launched the possibility of targeting URLs with Performance Max. So you can get like dynamic search ads into these Performance Max campaigns, but then you can add images and videos. So I'm about to test them. I don't know how they perform. I have heard for like shopping, like e-commerce, selling goods, they work really well. You have no control at all, but they work well. You should, for instance, blacklist your, or like exclude your brand terms, because otherwise you have no idea what is driving the revenue. And all the time with these platforms, they will give you advices like activate those things and put more money and put whatever. Be critical. Never take any of those things at face value. Think if it makes sense for you, and then you can apply and test and see if it makes sense for you. Because a lot of times it doesn't work. So then you have to be able to be critical enough to say, now I stop it and I go back to the previous.
That's
Thank
a
you.
fantastic suggestion, right?
Yeah.
Be critical. And that's what I'm asking all the time for my students. But when, there you are. Your name and your question.
Hi, my name is Zahra, and I want to comment a little about the AI kind of thing because I believe that AI is not going to take over all the jobs here because I believe that the human factors that we have, they can't be replaced by machines whatsoever. Like for instance, especially in the airline industry, it's about the experiences or like making people feel something or experience something. So I think the feedback that we actually experience, or like the experiences that we get, or the feedback that we get from our friends, family, or like even online, I think that cannot be really detected by AI. And also like using celebrities in our favor, I don't think AI can really like do that, or like influencers or TikTok on Gen Z and everything. So I believe that human factor that's what makes marketing, because it's all about creativity and how to like use all of the resources that we have to make better ads. Or like, I think marketing is more humanistic more than it's an AI kind of thing, because this is how you connect with people and like build brand loyalty, because a lot of people can build AI or like use it in their favor, but like not a lot of people will be really convinced. As you mentioned, like not all of them can be, most of them can be actually fake. So I just want to ask, like, what are the human factors that marketers could like work on or amplify more to use it in their favor, or like to make it more real, or to connect more with customers, to just like be convinced?
You're talking about humans and feelings and experiences, and I think that all belongs more into the brand marketing, brand building realm. Performance marketing, it's more about the numbers, but both of them goes together. If you want to build a big brand and a successful brand, and if you want to make your brand irreplaceable, or to a certain degree make people willing to pay more for your brand because it's your brand, you need to have this human this human touch. You have to have certain qualities. You have to have certain qualities about the brand, but also quality about the product. You have to have all these things and communicate them through your advertising and through your marketing. And to be honest, I don't think I can tell you a specific thing, but of course, when you have a product that's special and you can tell about this thing, why is it special, then you can make your brand stand out. And I think that's what you need to like think about for your marketing. The only problem is that normally all brands have very similar competitors, and you know it's super complicated.
Very good point. And just to add something else, yesterday, one of my beautiful students, showed me some material, some pictures generated by artificial intelligence, and it's insanely good quality. It's not a quality that if we try to generate as humans and you are amateur, you cannot get there. And this, when you mention the part of, we don't know what is human generated, and we sometimes don't know what is AI generated, and that's the tricky moment, when especially for marketing is problematic, because we want to connect with people, we want to connect with brands on a personal level. There is a person. We don't want to connect with AI. If people know that this is AI generated, they'll get mad. They'll get really mad. So, but on the other hand, sometimes the quality of this generation is in another level. So it's hard to balance as well. And we, of course, when we talk about which future should we as marketing, future marketing specialists, we should focus on this human touch, because the human touch is the humans, only humans. All right, please.
Yeah, next question. My name is Nadezhda, and my question about content. So we all know that content is the key, and what are you doing to make your content interesting for people? Do you like have a brainstorm every week, or use ChatGPT, or I don't know, use some creative agency? What are you doing to have more likes and followers? Yeah.
Good.
Okay, that's a huge question. I don't do so much content myself. I'm more spending the money.
You are the easy job, right?
I have to find job. But I think everybody probably in the content teams in this world, they are trying what they can do with ChatGPT or with generative AI, because even if you don't want to outsource the generation of quality of content, these tools can help you at least create like a bullet list of stupid ideas. You could have themselves, but you can have it's like a new colleague to the table. So probably a lot of people are using ChatGPT to generate ideas, and then based on that, you can develop them further. About likes and followers and so on, we have if you work in a big company, you normally have in some companies you have brand marketing team, then you have performance marketing team, then you have social media. Sometimes it's in between, sometimes it's in one side. In our case, it's our colleagues are on other team. They have a lot of very nice content. We have a very nice product. If you haven't seen Condor planes, you should go and check them out. We have new livery with circles. It's the most beautiful plane on the airport, in any airport you go.
And it's a marketing guy,
and
you see?
It really stands out. So our colleagues, they always get a lot of videos. Video is super important for online marketing, because people just look at videos. It's like if you are on TikTok or on TikTok or on Instagram Reels, video is now king. So you have to have nice videos. And also, I think one thing that's important when you have a big company, showing who's working, the hostess or the pilot or the female or male, showing them, it also makes the experience more interesting on the social side. So that's to that. And about content as well, and about like for SEO, I think generative AI, it's going to be huge, because when you have, like, if you work for an airline, you have to sell destinations, and you have, like, if you combine different flights from, like, let's say we fly from Frankfurt to New York from 199 euros. So if you fly Frankfurt, New York, and you connect New York to Frankfurt, and then Frankfurt to Mallorca, then you have like a lot of connections. So if you have to sell all those products, you need to have different pages with content for those combinations. And if you want to have a person write like an article about 2,000 routes, and the routes change every season, every year, depending, that's crazy. So I think AI probably for those cases, it's going to be very helpful, because you need to have like thousands of pages filled with content, and that's going to be probably helpful. So I hope that that answers your question.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other question, kids?
Hi, my name is Pooja, and my question is, like, suppose you just conducted a campaign and that campaign wasn't successful, then what measures will you take for the future and for the upcoming projects and campaigns?
Interesting.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That just happened recently.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
So the good thing about performance marketing is that if that happens, poor you, because you could have changed stuff during the campaign. Like, unlike a huge campaign with billboards, those you buy in advance, probably maybe even a year before, and one is out there, you can do nothing. On performance marketing, you can optimize on an ongoing basis. But like recently, I had a new type of campaign I had never tested, and you know, the reps tell you, don't touch the algorithm, let it learn, and I was like, I don't like it. So campaign was over, the algorithm didn't learn, and I wasn't happy. So next time, I'm not going to hear so much to the advice. I'm going to be critical and like use my best knowledge from other similar campaigns, and I'm going to try and avoid the errors that I identified and then in the new campaign, and try to probably optimize towards different metrics. And then I will have like 2 comparisons. And a lot about online marketing, it's about testing, A/B testing, or like testing different strategies, and the learnings, you have to apply them. On the other hand, the platforms change, the consumers change, the biddings change, so it can happen that once it works really well, 1 month later, it's a super failure. So nothing that you have learned, it's going to be 100% applicable all the time.
And that's something about humbleness of marketing. I usually tell this to students. We know everything today. Tomorrow, gone. You need to learn again, and you need to learn again. Or you think you know everything today, which is also another huge point, right? Well, good question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And anyone else?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Hello, my name is Farzad, and I'm an experienced digital marketer for probably 6 or 7 years. But it's always amazed me that what's going to be like for you for your first work as a performance marketer, since you don't know the business very well, you don't know which campaign they used before, and you need the time to study them. So what kind of pressure are you going through as a performance marketer at your first stages that you're entering to a company, big company?
So I think whoever wants to enter digital marketing nowadays is in a very privileged situation. There are plenty of jobs, and because there is so much offers, you will get a job for sure. That on the one hand. So entering job market, it's easy. Second, because of the nature of being digital, there is a lot of people sharing knowledge online, so you can really get a lot of learnings from LinkedIn. There is a lot of people like sharing stuff. There are courses, and you can really get a lot of necessary knowledge before you start your job. And then when you start, since everything is data, you have normally a lot of data that you can check, and you can see what happened before, what worked or what didn't work, and then you can just like take those learnings for the future. So I think it's for me now, I see it super easy. Maybe it's not so easy, but I think right now, because of the market, it's so dynamic and there are so many job offers, and there are so much knowledge out there. Even if, you know, when
because business. Sorry, if I'm interrupting you, because business to business performance marketing is changing. So you need to know some specific campaigns. For example, if you're working at an airline company, comparing to, for example, Starbucks, or comparing to, I don't know, health products. So these are all different stages, and they need you to prepare for different kind of campaigns, different kind of approaches, different kind of channels based on the targeted consumers. So I wanted to know what's your perspective for your first day, if you remember, that you entered the performance as a performance marketer.
When I entered my first day as performance marketing, I didn't know what was performance marketing. I started working in affiliate marketing. So the first day I was like, wow, what is this? So they taught me tracking. What is tracking? No idea. They show me how is the business model. So you have to understand the business model of the company. And I think understanding the business model, how do you make money online, I think that's the first thing. The second thing is probably, you said something very important. Do you have a B2C company or do you have a B2B company? Because that makes a huge difference. Yeah. If you have B2C or B2B, you will have to look into different channels, probably. B2B, the first thing I think of is LinkedIn. There are plenty of more channels, but like you do have different stuff. And then also the way you create campaigns. Like if you work for an e-commerce, you will have always this return on investment. You want to get people to come and buy. If you work in B2B, normally it's a huge customer journey. You have to make people aware of your service. You have to get leads. You have to qualify leads. I've never worked in B2B, but in the end, you know, the KPIs are the same. You pay a CPM, you pay a CPC, you have a cost per lead, and then if you have a system where you can track how the leads qualify, you can calculate back. If my cost per lead was X, and from this first leads they qualified only half, the qualified is the cost per whatever. So in the end, you need to understand the media KPIs, and you need to understand how to calculate back your return KPIs. And in the end, I think it's more or less the same. Of course, probably ad copies are different, but.
Yeah. So, and my last question is, can you say an example as one of your most successful campaigns that you ran or you were managed? That should be interesting.
Yeah, it's time to shine.
I love that. So I have been in-housing SEA for the past years in different companies. And that's normally a tough place, because normally you come, you have an agency, and then you basically want to take this agency's job. So it's a rookie start for the relationship. But you know, when I had my idea, what I want to accomplish, and I thought I was right. So when I started in this company, I tested my idea for a month, and I was like, okay, this looks really good. If I now apply it to all of the accounts and all of the campaigns we have, we are going to probably have a very good result. So after I applied everything, I managed to reduce the acquisition cost to half, and I was like, that was huge. And then I could prove that my idea was better than what had been implemented before. And you know, that was first of all a huge success for me personally and professionally. And then it was also about what I said about be critical. When you talk to people, they tell you, oh, but this is the best practice. We have been taught by whoever that this is how we should do it. And I was like, yeah, but I don't think that makes sense, because, you know, and then if you use your logic, your experience and critical thinking, you can even come up with better solutions. So that's not currently in my company, but in a company that I worked before. So that was a good success.
I have an extra. What's the most challenging point in consumer journey or customer journey based on the performance marketing perspective. For example, if you wanted to run a campaign for acquisition, for retention, for all kinds of targets that you have in mind, or strategize it by the company or the, digital marketing manager, what's going to be the hardest part for you if you want to run a campaign during the whole consumer journey? That's
a very good question. It's super tough. But the one thing that probably you don't, if you're not working in a company, you don't think about it. But like normally you have the performance marketing team, you have the money. So I have the money, I have the budgets, and then you have the website. When you work in a big company, the website it's broken down into smaller pieces. You have the home, you have the search, you have the book, you have the post booking. All those things are different departments. So we can make fantastic campaigns, but if people don't get through because it's not working well, you are just wasting the money. So I think the hardest part for a campaign to work is that all these people are working well together, and if there is an issue somewhere, that they tell you, hey, stop it or do something. Because a marketing campaign, it's not a single person or a single department. It has to be everybody working at full performance, and I think that's the hardest. Like having bugs on a website, it happens very often, and when you have a big website, having a bug for like a couple of hours, it could be millions of revenue lost.
Yeah. And this is, nobody wants to listen to the word revenue lost, right?
Yeah.
No one. Pedro.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Pedro, I really like our talk. I could actually stay the whole evening here talking about
super
it.
fun.
It was nice, right? Unfortunately, our time is over. We already passed almost 20 minutes. And the title is like Lessons from Airline Industry. How many lessons we learned today, right? I've learned a lot of lessons. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much for being here, all of you, for this amazing, all the time we're like, this question is amazing, this question is amazing, this question is amazing. We make very good questions. And it's very exciting to have these discussions here.
Thank you for inviting me. And it was super fun, the talk we had and also the questions. So thank you all for asking and being an active audience.
And see you next time, guys. Thank you.